National award won by Beaver County for its broadband modernization. Joining us are Joe Bazorak of Michael Baker International, Project Manager, Dan Disler, Director of Planning and Redevelopment for the county, Lance Grable, President of the Beaver County Chamber of Commerce, and bringing those beignets?
Those are beignets.
Jack Manning became the hero of the morning. Where did you get New Orleans beignets?
Chippewa, La Petite Bakery, French Bakery. Great bunch of people there, a young couple with 3 young kids. And I did bring, I didn't know Frank wasn't going to be here. I have chocolate croissant.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that place is right next to like where Gump's used to be, right next to
Gump's.
Yeah, okay. Highly recommend.
Cool.
All right, well, thanks everyone for joining us. Anyone has any calls or any questions, you can feel free to jump into 724-843-1888. But here was the news. Here was the headline. Beaver County wins prestigious national award for innovative broadband modernization. And I know that had been something on the books for a while to update the broadband in Beaver County. Let's begin by kind of walking us through what was the issue that was identified, what needed to be improved. At what point did you realize we've got to kick it up a notch?
Well, we started, I guess it was prior to the pandemic, somewhere around late 2018, 2019, beginning of 2019, just reaching out to some of the residents and hearing what they have to say. We were looking at trying to do a new comprehensive plan as well. So kind of that process led into hearing some of the residents say how bad their internet was. Some of them just didn't have it. So we just started looking into it. Got a hold of Michael Baker. At the time was Jeremy Jurek was with me, and we jumped in and just started looking at what do we actually have, what don't we have. I've said it before. I was surprised. I thought maybe we would have 300 or 400 residents, homes throughout the county that just didn't have internet. And as we started digging in and we found that it was over 2,000 homes that didn't have it. So as we continued to dive into it, obviously the pandemic hit. We were in really good shape at that point because we had done so much work prior to it. And we even had boots on the ground and went out and checked be able to check homes and see what kind of hookups they had. So we put ourselves in a really good spot when the pandemic hit. I went to the commissioners with a huge ask of using some of their American Rescue Plan funding to help fund an overall project that connected every single house that didn't have connection through fiber in the county, and they jumped right in, and we just took off from there.
And you said in the post-pandemic era, it's never been more important. So many people now work from home, need that good broadband, need to be able to get on their work computers, and that was a problem that you said for a few thousand people. Wow.
It was, and it wasn't just, in the pandemic, it blew it up. So it wasn't just even the parents, it was grandparents that never even cared to have a hookup, but now they're watching their kids after school or whatever it may be, or during school because of the pandemic. So they need a connection. There's healthcare, doing telehealth, and there were so many different facets of it. And I really believed that it was going to be an economic development driver for us, and it seems like that it really has been up to this point.
That's Lance Grable, Beaver County Chamber of Commerce. So it's one thing to identify the problem. Now, what steps did you take to address it? How did you get this modernization in effect?
Same. We went to Michael Baker and did a lot of back work. Literally went out to a lot of the rural locations.
What were some of those areas where there was I'm thinking Fawn Bell or that kind of?
Spread out throughout the county. Like it was pockets. Like you saw that there was infrastructure built in the more dense location, home density location, higher business things. But it was those pockets that were identified throughout the studies, like Independence Township.
Out in Raccoon area. Like our river towns had reliable, what is considered, they have good connection. Our rural areas, south, southwest, northeast, northwest, we're lacking because they're more rural areas. So literally we went out and started working with Michael Baker to go out and check. There was a map that was put out originally, and we didn't I guess I say we didn't really trust it based off of some of the knowledge we had. So we made our own map. We went out and checked homes one by one, looked at connections, talked with the residents to see what they had, understood as much as we possibly can, made up our own map, and then had a really good footprint and blueprint for what it was that we needed to do moving forward.
For Joe Bezorek of Michael Baker, project manager. So for someone like me who uses a computer every day and has for decades, but would struggle to explain what I'm doing on it or how, it's one thing to realize we need to increase broadband. How do you do it? How do you make that happen? What's the source of the power, the boost?
Yeah, so I think like the source of the boost is the technology that's deployed, and through the foresight of Beaver County, the commissioners, at the planning department, they identified, and it wasn't like the thing that I am most impressed with Beaver County is what they did was they courted the tier 1 carriers, the companies who have been in business doing this for long times. The Kinetics, Windstreams, Legacy Windstream, Armstrong, and Verizon. And these are, like I said, tier 1 companies who not only bring the ability to build out these networks and provide that high-speed broadband that everybody's, so after now, but they bring the back-end office with it as well. So after, that initial investment, that you're going to have somebody who's going to be here for years to come that will support that network, as well as the residents and businesses of Beaver County.
Commissioner Jack Manning, this is an example of a good public-private kind of partnership, I would say, right? To get a company like Michael Baker and county officials working together on the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great collaboration, public-private partnership, not just with Michael Baker, but as Joe said, with Verizon, with Comcast, with Armstrong, with Windstream, all of these other providers that were already here providing some of it. To have a collaborative effort like that, I mean, they're the ones that are owning the fiber and owning the network and going to maintain it in the future. So trying to arrange the best deal for Beaver County residents, for the taxpayers, for the county, and for the business owners that are also taking advantage of this. Because the other thing, I mean, Lance talked about, and we've talked about this extensively, post-pandemic, the telehealth, the shopping online. In addition to the education and all those kinds of things where it comes into play. But if you're trying to attract businesses, small businesses or industry into the county, having connectivity is just as important as having electricity and water and all the other utilities that they need. So we knew in the long run we were going to have a collaboration with a whole bunch of people to make sure that fiber ran all through Beaver County and upgraded to the highest speeds possible to be attractive for new residents as well as new businesses. And Verizon and Comcast were the successful folks in making a lot of that happen with some BEAD grants and some other things. And we signed a big contract with Verizon. And Dan or Joe can kind of give you the update there on how those guys are doing. But they've been terrific to work with. I used to criticize Verizon, as you guys know, with my old Verizon copper DSL lines that were actually, by definition, I didn't have broadband, even though there was something hooked up to my house because the upload and download speeds were nothing. Just got Fios, fiber optics myself. So in addition to hooking up new residents, we're upgrading a lot of residents as well with their capability to really have state-of-the-art high-speed internet. So great partnership. Couldn't happen without these guys in the room here who really are the people that executed the contract and the technical aspects of this and the locations, but obviously the ISPs, the internet service providers, in actually getting the work done.
And as this project is, it's evolving as we go. Armstrong, for example, through the early action project and laying down fiber, they're going back and replacing all their copper for fiber. So even that evolution has been pretty exciting.
Is it 100% completed? You're still some more people you're bringing up to speed, or so to speak, or?
So it's not 100%, and that's one of the beautiful things about Beaver County right now in the way that this is all being set up. It's never going to fully be done, I would say.
It's an evergreen process.
Because as Beaver County is able to offer these services, it's just growing. Both attracting new residents, attracting new businesses. So there's always going to be somebody who's getting built too. through this process. So I think, but as far as like the overall project, identifying, like Lance said, like around 2,500 homes or 2,200 homes somewhere, like with that piece of the puzzle, we're getting pretty close. I think we're well over 80% at this point. But, to say that everybody is 100% hooked up, it's going to be hard because we're always going to be growing and businesses and everything will be coming into the county.
Well, in terms of attracting new businesses and new residents, one great way to do that is to be able to brag you've won a national award, and we're going to talk about that when we come back from this break.
It's radio that's apart from the ordinary and powered by St. Barnabas. 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMBA.
Maplewood Studio, the home of For Those About to Rock Academy, Long Live Rock Academy, modern and vintage recording, private music, voice and engineering lessons, and all things Granati. We have deluxe rehearsal space already set up with PA, backline, drums, including food and beverage service. Free parking with easy load-in. We are in Ambridge, 20 minutes from everywhere. Downtown, Butler, Beaver, and Washington counties. 724-417-3100.
Are you looking to invest in yourself, your child, or family members? At Clark Martial Arts, you can invest in boosting confidence, getting strong, and gaining skills you can use for life. Clark Martial Arts is located at 603 Darlington Road next to Patterson Elementary School. Clark Martial Arts offers single and family memberships which include Taekwondo, Kung Fu, and Tai Chi. Also available are specialty classes featuring Jiu-Jitsu and Krav Maga. Additional yoga and fitness classes available. Clark Martial Arts at 603 Darlington Road in Patterson Township. Stop in today.
Looking for an elevated dining experience with a lively bar atmosphere? Then Jackson's Restaurant and Bar in Monaca is your destination. Jackson serves modern American cuisine with a fresh flair, perfect for lunch, dinner, and brunch on Sundays. Summer's here, so chill out on Jackson's Outdoor Patio, where you can enjoy seasonal cocktails. The patio hosts a special Bark and Brunch on June 29th with dogs welcome from 10 to 2. Located near the Beaver Valley Mall, adjacent to the Hilton Garden Inn, Jackson's event space is the ideal venue for weddings or anniversaries. Visit jacksonsbeavercounty.com for details.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester.
Looking for a great job opportunity? McDonald's now has full-time and part-time positions available to fit your lifestyle and needs. Set your own hours and have a lot of fun too. Whatever the situation is, McDonald's has a place for you. Apply today at mchire.com. McDonald's is here for you. I'm loving it.
Join us for Midland Music Mondays at Lincoln Park. Enjoy free outdoor concerts in the park all summer long, rain or shine. Performing June 30th, it's Groove Shakers starting at 6:30 p.m. Presented by Beaver County Radio.
We all have a dream. Tom Sipes Demolition had a dream that started with a pickup truck and a hammer. A dream that has grown into a business with full-time employees, heavy equipment, tractor trailers, and more. Whatever your demolition requirements are, including asbestos removal, Tom Sipes Demolition can do the job best. They walk you through the demolition process, making it as simple and hassle-free for you as possible. No job is too big or too small. Just give them a call today at 724-495-2712.
What's everyone in Beaver County talking about? It's Beaver County Radio, brought to you exclusively by Fry Transportation. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team in Beaver County.
The Vault Recording on Neville Island is the state-of-the-art recording studio with an award-winning team. The Vault's 3 studios include a multi-room full-production studio centered around a legendary vintage Neve console. The Vault also offers the region's first and only commercially available Dolby Atmos certified mix room and a post-production studio run by B6 Music and Post focused on ads, TV, film, and voiceover work, plus music production. The Vault works with artists and projects of all types, from singer-songwriters to full bands and large ensembles across all genres. For info, visit thevaultrecording.com.
Check out Beaver County's free online source for news, sports scores, and more. BeaverCountyRadio.com.
Thank you for listening to the Beaver County Radio Morning Show. We are at 9:21 a.m. 77 degrees. It rose 5 degrees in the last 5 minutes, or the last half hour. 77 on our way to a high of 85 today. We're streaming live on Facebook as well. If you want to check out what we're doing here, we are talking about Beaver County winning a award for its modernization of broadband. Joining us in studio, I'll set it up if you're not watching on Facebook, left to right, right to left. Joe Bazorak, Michael Baker, project manager, Beaver County Commissioner, Mr. almost forgot your name, Jack Manning. I'm sorry. Lance Grable, President of Beaver County Chamber of Commerce, and Dan Disler, Director of Planning and Redevelopment for the county. So we were saying about the importance of attracting business, attracting residents, and one of the things that you guys were hearing coming up was broadband connectivity and people struggling with that. The county went out and addressed it, a big public-private partnership. Now it's been recognized by a national organization, and kind of fill us in on that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was sitting here this morning as I was waiting to come on, and I started thinking, and what came to my mind was it's about time that Beaver County was able to get a national award. There are so many good things in this county. There are so many things that work together, that work collaboratively. I know Jack has been big on making sure there's collaboration throughout this county. And you just take a look at this project, and I've said this in the past, but if you just take a look at how I believe government is supposed to work. We started with just some residents that said, hey, we're struggling with connectability, broadband connectability. They said it to me, which was the lowest level of government at the time when I was running the planning and redevelopment. And I went out, started looking at it, put some stuff together, took it to the commissioners who backed it, and then we took it to the state reps, and up and up and up and up, and continued to move up, and had backing from everybody. And then, as typical Beaver County, what we did is we made sure that there were groups that were collaborating together, very well thought out plan that allowed, like we said, the big four in this area to come together. So Kinetic, Windstream, and Armstrong, and early action projects with them to get things started, to make sure that we got our feet under us and we understood what we were doing with that. Kinetic went out and actually, because of the work that we were able to do with them and how strategically we placed the work that they were doing in the early action project, they were able to go out and hit something that's called an RDOF area, a Rural Digital Opportunity Fund area, that we couldn't put funding over top of. But they completed that much earlier than what they ever would have. And they were willing to do it because they wanted to collaborate with us. And then Verizon came in, and the work that they do is spectacular. Once again, what Armstrong did, and just the little things, like Armstrong went out and there was a call because there was a tire track in somebody's yard. And I'm not kidding, within 20 minutes of making a call, they went out and everything was fine, it was ready to go. Like, they could not have been more responsive. Comcast, the same thing. So we have these groups, and I like to say, because Beaver County has this collaborative nature, that the more that we start to deal with some of these companies, they feel that. I'm sure they have that in their own culture as well, but it makes it easy to be able to go through and work with them on whatever, no matter what issue it comes up. And in this large scale of a project, you're going to have some issues. But when you have the technical ability of having a Michael Baker in your pocket, you can pretty much just guarantee that you're going to succeed no matter what. And that's how good they have been, how important they've been to this project. But I start to look at that as I'm thinking of everything in this county. Like, legislatively, we have the best state reps. Jim Marshall is not our state rep anymore. He was so imperative to everything that we did. But you have Matsy and Kale and Kozak, you have Senator Vogel, you have our commissioners, all working together. This isn't like a lot of areas across this country. They work together. Even our borough managers, you take a look at some of our borough managers and our mayors and how good they are. You have Kenya Johns and Beaver Falls, Dave Kramer over in Monaca. Honestly, if there was something that I needed for this project, and I went to Dave and I said, hey, here's what we're doing in the outskirts of Monaca, can I get some help? Absolutely, they're ready to go. The same thing, like, that's what Beaver County is. Like, if you need great health care, yeah, Heritage Valley, we have it. If you need a place, if you have an elderly parent or grandparent or something, St. Barnabas, you're not going to find better care. We have that here. So that when I say it's about time, it's great nationally to be able to get this attention, to make sure people understand, the roots of Michael Baker are here and still here. There's still plenty of Michael Baker of employees that still work here and still love this county, and it's part of what they do. This doesn't happen without them.
He said it from a building that used to be the Michael Baker headquarters right here at Beaver County Radio.
Correct,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and the same thing. You can just keep moving on and on and on. Same thing. This building right here. So it was Michael Baker, but right now, if you're a business and you want to advertise and you want to get out to over 1 million people, where can you go? Beaver County Radio. You can come in, put an ad here for your business, and it reaches over 1 million people. That's right here in Beaver County. The food. I mean. We have, what are these called again?
Beignets.
Beignets. Sorry. Where are you going to, you can find them here in Beaver County. You want great food?
You don't have to go to New Orleans. You can find them right here.
Yeah.
That's what that's the
La
point.
Petite Bakery in Chippewa.
Yeah.
Give them a shout.
And even that, do you think, if you want some great food and you're driving down Beaver Falls, Little Joe's has the greatest food in the world. Just to go in and just stop in and eat. Or you can go to Wooden Angel or Mario's or wherever it may be. We have that here. We have that here because we have some of these bigger organizations or these bigger companies like Shell, Mitsubishi just came in, a lot of bigger companies that Chuck Bedder's brought in, Vistra for sure. They're not just here; they're here to be a part of this community, and they're giving back to this community. There's just so much potential here. When those companies give back to this community responds back. So Beaver County I think we've just been waiting to have something like this. So when I say it's about time that we get a national award, it really is. We are so set up. We are so ready for development, and not just ready for it because we have land. As a community, as a county, from all those things I've mentioned, whether it's legislators or just your local residents, everybody's ready for that, and they're welcoming, and that's what made this project go. That's what makes every project go.
Well, those collaborative efforts and that welcoming vibe is what caught the attention of the National Association of Telecommunications Officers and Advisors, and they bestowed upon Beaver County for this broadband project the 2025 Public-Private Partnership Award. And I'm looking at some of the other recipients of similar awards from the NATOA. We're talking the city of San Jose, the city of New Orleans, the city of Virginia Beach. So Beaver County kind of fighting beyond its class,
awesome?
right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We're right for that. Think about what's happening tomorrow. Same thing.
A world-renowned fireworks exhibit.
An international winning fireworks show is going to happen here in Beaver County. We're going to have 50,000 people in here. That's what Beaver County is. We're set up and we're prepared for that. And when you look at some of those other places that've got the award, and people think, Little Beaver County, not so much. Yeah, we're Little Beaver County somewhat if you look at population, but when it comes to readiness and the ability to get things done, I'll put Beaver County against anybody in this country.
Well, how does that work? It's called the NATOA Award, National Award. Who got the call? Was it the county? How did you guys find out you won, first of all?
Michael Baker was key in that. Go ahead.
So, to highlight this, because, Michael Baker's a national company, and we get to see, this on a very large stage. And one of the things that, when this popped up was, hey, we need to highlight what Beaver County's doing here, because there is another program that's out there right now. It's called BEAD, and that's the Broadband Equity Access Deployment Program. And so there are a lot of other state. Well, I'm going to say every other state is still waiting to deploy broadband, to their residents. Where Beaver County is already they're wrapping it up. They're getting ready to close the books on a project where they're just so much further ahead of the game, not only at in Western Pennsylvania, in the tri-state area, in the Northeast, but nationally. They just advanced, where they're at, and now they're sitting there after everybody's still trying to figure this out. They're done, and we're wrapping it up, I should say. But we wanted to highlight that nationally because this is a model that, just what local government can do, working at this level, being able to provide a service for their residents. And we just wanted to highlight that,
Well, in bestowing this award, the NATOA said in a press release, we're Proud to support the unique and diverse needs of communities nationwide by working to ensure everyone has access to affordable, high-speed, and reliable broadband. And it mentioned Beaver County is one of the winners as a shining example of what's possible through innovation, a focus on digital equity and strong partnerships. So that's high praise, and it's got to be something Beaver County can use to market itself.
Yeah, within the Commonwealth, I can tell you when we go to the county commissioner associations and Brandon from the Broadband Authority, they recognize and they know we were the point of the spear in getting this stuff done throughout the Commonwealth. And they've been very gracious, very supportive, and appreciate the job we've done. But now to see it recognized nationally just brings a whole nother level, I think, of pride to the effort that these guys have done. And when I used to go to those meetings, I said, man, everybody's talking about how to get started with broadband and this kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, we're over the hump and heading downhill. And I said, well, first thing, you got to go out and find yourself a Michael Baker that can do the grunt work that these guys did that laid the groundwork. And I know it has led to some business for these guys statewide, but it really started with that early execution, that early vision from Lance and Dan and the folks in our planning and redevelopment, from the feedback we were getting, from talking to Corporation for Economic Development, Lou Velati, and different people at the chamber at that time before Lance came, and understanding, particularly post-pandemic, we got to do this. We got to get going. And Beaver County is technically an urban county, but we're so, by definition, we are one of the 3 urban counties in western PA with 3 or 4. I think Westmoreland, Allegheny, Erie, and us. But we know that a big portion of our land mass is rural farmland, townships, they're less populated. And it was just important to get those people connected and drive it. Now to see it, the effort and the process that these guys put together come to fruition with an award like this is pretty exciting. And to have it in New Orleans, so I'm proud that these guys will hopefully all be heading down to New Orleans to accept that award on our behalf.
Do you need a radio reporter to join you in New Orleans? I know a guy.
All right.
All right. And we're back with a bit more. We're going to hear from a couple of our collaborators, our advertisers, and then a quick report on news headlines. So stay there. More on broadband in Beaver County in just a moment.
Friends, how about a roofer that takes pride in exceeding your expectations? Barbara and James from Beaver Falls were highly satisfied with the great work that NASCO did on their roof and how quickly they did the job. NASCO has satisfied thousands like Barbara and James, and they can help you next. Locations in Pittsburgh and Youngstown, the pros at NASCO passionately roof the region. Most jobs can be done in a day. Get NASCO on your roof. Call 412-373-2000 or go to NASCOroofing.com. NASCO Roofing, NASCO.
Have you ever wanted to work in radio? Well, now is your chance. St. Barnabas Broadcasting is a network of 11 radio stations, and we are looking for account executives to introduce St. Barnabas Broadcasting and digital media to new prospective clients and grow existing ones. Experience in sales is preferred. Interested prospective candidates can apply by sending their resume to fsparks@beavercountyradio.com or by calling 724-444-JOBS.
Circle of Friends is happy to announce the 2025 Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program voucher schedule. They will be distributed in person starting in June. Beaver County residents age 60 or older are eligible. Income limit for one person is $28,953 and up to $39,128 for 2 people. Please bring ID with you. Vouchers will be distributed at the designated time. Friday, June 27, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Salvation Army, Franklin Avenue, Aliquippa, and Saturday, June 28th to 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Diamond Milling, 5th Avenue, New Brighton. Call Circle of Friends for more information at 724-869-4224 or 724-846-1959.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Friday, June 27th of 2025. There is a heat advisory in effect from now until 8 p.m. tonight. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. An unidentified man became the victim of a shooting that occurred in Beaver Falls on Wednesday night. According to emergency dispatchers, the shooting happened on 13th Street around 9:40 p.m. The victim was on a flight that was going to a hospital in Pittsburgh. That is all the information that we have at this time. This is a developing story, and we will have updates as soon as they are available. A man was arrested for being the suspect of a stabbing incident that occurred in Aliquippa on Thursday. 56-year-old William Earl Little stabbed 63-year-old Mark Banks with a knife on 434 Franklin Avenue during a physical altercation. According to a report from Pennsylvania State Police in Beaver, an investigation into this incident is ongoing and charges for aggravated assault against Little are pending. Starting today, the Genesis Collective is hosting the free Uncommon Concert Series. These concerts will occur in both Ambridge and Aliquippa. These concerts, hosted by the Beaver County nonprofit, will feature acts including Aliquippa native Janine Gilbert Carter, an international gospel and jazz singer. The locations, dates, and times of the concerts, as well as more information, can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com. PennDOT District 11 announced that beginning Friday, June 27th, weather permitting, lane restrictions on the Ohio River Boulevard in Ambridgeboro will occur. From 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. today, a single-lane restriction will occur on southbound Route 65 for the inspection of the Ambridge-Aliquippa Bridge located between 9th Street and 12th Street. PennDOT District 11 also announced that on Friday, June 27th, weather permitting, inspection activities on the Swickley Bridge in Swickley and Moon Township will occur. From 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. today, single-lane alternating traffic will be on the Swickley Bridge on Route 4025. A former Quaker Valley High School basketball player was selected by the Los Angeles Lakers on Thursday night as the 36th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft. Adu Thoreau is a junior in college who started playing college basketball at the University of Kentucky and then transferred to the University of Arkansas. The Lakers made trades to get the rights to draft Thoreau on their team. Healthcare advocates warn that proposed Medicaid cuts could put seniors at risk and lead to rural hospital closures, but with key provisions rejected, the reconciliation bill now faces more delays. Danielle Smith reports.
The House version would slash federal Medicaid spending by at least $700 billion to help fund tax cuts and other Trump-era priorities. Pennsylvania nurse Molly McCullough warns the cuts could put seniors at risk and threaten rural hospitals. She says many older adults in southwestern Pennsylvania depend on Medicaid and hopes the Senate's actions help protect their care.
The Medicaid information has been taken out of the One Big Beautiful bill. It was actually stricken from the bill because the nonpartisan people who kind of referee the Senate had it struck from the bill. But then we have to consider how will Republicans reapproach.
Medicaid supports about 3 million Pennsylvanians across all 67 counties. McCullough says no matter what changes the Senate makes, the bill would still need to return to the House for approval, and Republicans may have to rewrite or scrap major parts to keep it alive. Danielle Smith reporting.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
A heat advisory remains in effect through 8 p.m. this evening. Today, look for partly cloudy skies with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. We'll see a high near 90. Showers and thunderstorms tonight will drop down to a low around 70. Increasing clouds tomorrow with rain and possible thunderstorms will reach a high near 85 and a low around 64. And sunshine in the forecast for Sunday. We'll see highs near 89 and lows around 68. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
St. Barnabas thanks you for listening to Beaver County Radio.
We do appreciate you spending time with us this Friday morning. We were talking about Beaver County winning a national award for its broadband modernization. Joining us in studio, what you can watch on Facebook, by the way, but I'll set the visual left to right. This time we have Joe Bezora. Why do I keep starting with you? Dan Disler, Director of Planning and Development of Beaver County. Lance Grable, President of Beaver County Chamber of Commerce. Jack Manning, Beaver County Commissioner. And Joe Bezork, Michael Baker, Project Manager. So with this project complete, the modernization, or very close to complete with the broadband modernization, as you guys said, does this create more choices for consumers?
Yeah, that's a good question, Scott. I mean, when we created it originally, one of the things we did is make sure we mapped out, you know, where all the residents were that didn't have connection, and the reason that we didn't just use one internet service provider, we used 4. They're door to door sort of. So we set it up in a way so that they're next to each other. They have the ability to expand, and they have. So there's already been some competition that's been created. They're moving into each other's territory, but what that does is that provides a lot of different potential for our residents to have more than one choice. And in addition to that, when we first started this, a lot of people were asking me about SpaceX and satellite solutions, and some of the satellite solutions hadn't been great. That's what some of them had. SpaceX seems to be just a little bit better solution right now. What we wanted to do is make sure that every resident had the ability to have a direct line into their house. If they chose to go with a satellite solution at some point, that's fine, they can, but once again, it's just another choice. So we really tried to set it up originally that we have competition abutting each other so that they expand into each other's territories a little bit, but that provides choices for our residents, and then the satellite solution is would be another choice if and when they choose that. If they choose it, doesn't turn out to be what they want, they still have the ability to go back and know that they have direct fiber going into their house.
And the more choices consumers have, a likelihood of a cost savings or getting the specific package that's best for them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dan, tell them about Connect Beaver County.
Yeah, our website. Our website tracked everything we've done so far. Connect Beaver County. It's a very valuable website to go check out. There's an affordability tool on there. You can click on your property and it'll link you to cost for each ISP that you could use out there. It tracks how many miles of fiber have been laid, what properties are in construction, what properties are in engineering. It's a full, you get everything you need about the program from that website.
What is the website specifically?
ConnectBeaverCounty.com.
Okay. I'm visualizing it. Is it like a map of the Beaver County and it's all like in red and we see where the spots are like you see on a national cell phone plan? Is it something like that?
A little honeycomb.
Yeah, there's like hexagons in there that you click and zoom into.
Okay.
It'll show you the region and stuff. I mean, that's part of the feedback, right? When you buy a house, you get whoever's providing the water, who's ever providing electricity, who's ever the sewer, and that's it. And you're kind of stuck with them. And we got a lot of feedback about people wanting choices, not being happy with one provider or the other. And with the way Michael Baker laid it out, and then the contracts went with the providers, you now have multiple options pretty much everywhere in the county now as a result of this effort. So you can plug in your address, click on it, and it'll list exactly who the providers are in your area that you can go out and reach out to if you're not happy with who you're getting. And there are varying degrees of upload and download speeds that you can get even from some of the providers. So it can be very affordable for just an elderly guy like myself sitting at home. What are you laughing at?
Did you hear how we all said, no.
Try to shop online.
Yeah.
Which I never do, but
I mean, nothing's more frustrating when you had the high-speed internet, maybe at a workplace or library, or whatever, and then you're trying to get it somewhere else, and you can't get it. I mean, it's like tedious. I mean, you're pulling your hair out how torturous it is. Why is it taking a minute to download? But we become spoiled for good reason. And you mentioned feedback. Can anyone think of any specific examples from Beaver County residents or businesses you heard where they talked about what this did for them to have this stronger connectivity?
Well, Katie Klaber, who actually from the Klaber Group, who was instrumental in actually writing the application so that we could receive the award and working with Michael Baker. She lives, I don't want to say where she lives. My gosh, that'd be terrible. She lives in a rural area and did not have good connection at all. And her family came in and her sons came in recently, and they would all have to have family time someplace else. where they all could go in and work on their computers a little bit, that sort of thing. And she was like, for the first time, we didn't have to go, into town. We didn't have to go anywhere else. We could actually just have our family there. We could all be working on stuff and be around each other. She's been instrumental into it. And I mean, Jack, you as well. Like, I mean, I would send Jack emails all the time. He would never respond.
I still don't. Yeah. even though I have the service now, but that's a whole other story. No, but some of the rural areas that you wouldn't think didn't have it. I mean, South Beaver, Chippewa, Darlington, Hanover, places. Yeah, there's enough population there. They were struggling in a lot of places where what they had wasn't a good service. So we really reached out. And I'll just say one other thing from a county perspective. The broadband is done, but we're still talking connectivity. We're still working with AT&T on new cell towers for emergency response. The work that we did with the ARPA money, getting radios to the fire departments and the police departments for better connectivity during emergencies. So it's an evergreen, ongoing process to continue to upgrade connectivity so that cell phones aren't dropped as you're driving through Radius Run Park and different things there. So
yeah, we've had that trouble with the Maple Syrup Festival. We
exactly. That should be much better next year because they are putting a tower in right near the lodge. AT&T is, along with some others, and just the other cell tower work that's going on around the county, so that we don't have any dead spots for emergency response and just for residents driving around the county.
Yeah, and on that note, I mean, so talk about Beaver County being ahead of the game. We were, as it relates to, fiber going to homes, that sort of thing. Before I left, I started, and Dan's has done a great job with it with Michael Baker of going out. So we're already looking at mobile connectability. Where are there dead spots? If you saw what you had to do in order to try and figure that out, I'm certainly not smart enough. Thank God we had Michael Baker with us to go figure out all these hexagrams and everything that you had to go and do. But we're already there. The Beaver County Chamber of Commerce went out to Harrisburg last month and sat there and talked with the Pennsylvania Broadband Authority with Brandon Carson. And two cool things. Number one is he said when they started that, one of the first things that they did was come to Beaver County to say, okay, you guys are already successful. How are you running this? And what do you do? What are you doing? Because we want to try and mirror that somewhat for the state. And number two is we're sitting there talking. I asked the question, like, we're ready to go with mobile connectability. Where's the state at with that yet? And they're like, we're not there yet. We're thinking about that. That's going to be coming along. But the instant that there's funding, there's anything available for that, Beaver County is ready to roll already.
Yeah, I mentioned funding. Commissioner Manning, where did the funding come to get this, the broadband modernization?
So the original $92 million that was given to us from the American Rescue Plan Act. So post-pandemic, we had that. One of the first chunks we carved out and set aside was a big chunk for the broadband, but also for those radios, emergency response. And then a whole bunch of it went to the individual municipalities for infrastructure work. I'm proud to say, and I think we probably had one of the highest outlays of that money back into the community in some way versus our counterparts. We didn't use it to balance the budget. We didn't use it for operating expenses. Some of them wouldn't be allowed for it anyway. But over 80% of what we brought in went back out in the community, either through broadband, through those radios, through infrastructure, water, sewer lines, and those kinds of things. Yeah, so that's where it came from, and it's all been allocated now. It's been out there, and there is kind of a deadline for this stuff to be completed by the end of 2026. So Verizon's role, the contractual stuff with Baker and everything, will be completed for this stuff by the end of the year. That's why I think we're like 95% over the hump on it, and as they keep laying more and more cable, they'll get all that there. But from our aspect, we're like complete. The money's spent, it's allocated, it's out there. We're just finishing up
Keeping in mind what we said about Michael Baker and then the hexagrams and everything like that. But if there's someone out there listening and they just bought a farmhouse in South Beaver Township or Farm Bell or Frankfurt Springs, whatever, and they are still feeling like they're having trouble with their their broadband, is there someone they can reach out to, or is it already documented, or are there possibilities that there are more people that can be added?
Yeah, so there's always room for adding people, but through the website we do have the connectbeavercounty.com website. There is Lance in the planning department and Dan, they had set up like 800 number. People can call in and check. They have an email set up. Call in, with anything, and we are very responsive. The team monitors that on a daily basis. Very responsive. But one of the other things too, and lastly, and this is all I'm gonna, Beaver County had the initiative, and Dan led this piece. There's an affordability tool on the website, and not only is it an affordability tool, but it's also, if somebody's from Illinois, Florida, and they're looking at Beaver County, they can come in on that website and see who their internet service providers would be in that location, speeds they offer. The plan prices, and that's one of a kind. Like, that is one of a kind. No one else in the nation has anything like that.
Wow.
And a couple other things. Dan and Lance drove was a hotspot finder. Like a free Wi-Fi finder, where people can go to that site if they're visiting Beaver County for work or something, but they need to have a hotspot connection. They can go on there and identify where there is free Wi-Fi hotspot connections within the county. Because it's just that whole thing of attracting business, into the county. So.
And you go to the website you mentioned.
Yeah.
How you found, okay. And that would have come in handy the other day. We lost power for a little bit when I know a lot of us were already thinking, okay, where are we going to go?
The courthouse shut down a little early the other day.
Just to put a recap on it, we've been talking with Dan Dissler, Director of Planning and Redevelopment for Beaver County, Joe Bzorak, Michael Baker, Project Manager, Lance Grable, President, Beaver County Chamber of Commerce, and Beaver County Commissioner Jack Manning, about Beaver County winning this national award for its innovative broadband modernization. And anything else, fellas, you think is important for Beaver Countyans to know about this? We touched on a lot, but is there anything we're leaving out?
No, I'm just so proud of this team and the great work that they did. And I'm just proud, I'm a proud Beaver County to begin with, but it's just great recognition. I think hopefully every resident feels the same pride that we feel in this accomplishment and all the great things that we're doing here to improve the quality of life in Beaver County. It's a great place to be. So,
okay, I appreciate you coming in today and helping spread word about this. And thank you all, and keep us posted. And why don't you hold up those beignets one more time for people watching? Le Petit Bakery, highly recommended, Chippewa.
We're on to New Orleans.
Thanks a lot.